How about a round of applause for our pipe and drum? That never gets old to me. I'm trying to find their hourly rate to see if they can follow me for a day. My name is Eric Fitzgerald. I'm an assistant chief, and I will be your master of ceremonies for tonight's Unit of the Year ceremony. I want to start off by talking about how important it is to recognize the incredible work that our men and women, both sworn and civilian, do on a daily basis. These awards are my favorite, and I'll tell you why. These awards are not given for one specific incident, but rather a body of work, right? It's a year-long effort that supervisors acknowledge and nominate, and that's why we're here today, to recognize that body of work. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go over the agenda for tonight. The next thing we'll do is we'll call for protection. We'll get the opening remarks from Chief of Police Lisa Davis. We'll present the honorees, and then we'll have closing remarks and final thanks by Chief of Police Lisa Davis. I want to remind everybody that after the ceremony, there will be punch and cookies served in the lobby, and we can't leave the building until all of those are gone, so make sure that you get some of those. So I will turn it over to Chaplain Ken Farmer for the calling of protection.
Good evening and welcome. Before I pray, I have two quotations to give you, one about life and one about courage. Life is not about living the safer option. It is about living a life that is worth living. And the second, I think you will recognize the author. Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. That would be John Wayne. I spend a fair amount of time in police cars, and I can tell you I watch officers saddle up on a regular basis, and I've seen nothing but bravery, devotion to duty, and a desire to do excellence. I'm sure Chief Davis is already realizing our academy puts out a wonderful and excellent product. Let us pray. Almighty God, we give our humble thanks this evening for the brave men and women of the Austin Police Department. We are grateful for the opportunity to thank them and to honor them. We cannot express enough appreciation for their continued devotion to duty, their continued personal sacrifices, their unwavering commitment to protecting our community, and their willingness to put on the uniform each day. We thank the men and women of all departments who strive for excellence as demonstrated by the awards this evening. We realize they often go the extra mile in keeping the citizens of Austin safe. Please help them to know they are appreciated and they do make a difference. We ask that you hear our prayers to keep our officers safe, both on and off duty. Please help them stay alert as many are working overtime. Guide them and direct them. Keep them mindful of their training. Provide them a strong sense of humor. And may you bless each APD employee and their family. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. We have three fallen officers: Senior Police Officer Amir Abdul Khalik, Senior Police Officer Anthony Martin, and Senior Police Officer Jorge George Pastor. Gone but never forgotten. Let's have a moment of silence for our fallen officers. Thank you.
Okay, next I will bring up our new chief, Chief Lisa Davis, but before I do, I want to talk a little bit about kind of where we're at and what's happening in the Austin Police Department as we move forward. It's no secret that we've seen some dark times in the past few years, but thanks to the incredible leadership of Interim Chief Robin Henderson, I believe that we were able to kind of guide in a more positive direction. And I think at this time, especially given the news from today about us having a tentative agreement with the city and entering a police contract, we have the right person stepping in Chief Lisa Davis to continue to lead us in that positive manner. So a round of applause will bring up Chief Lisa Davis.
Thank you, Eric. That was very nice of you. I feel very fortunate to be here, and certainly amongst company such as yourselves, award winners. I think it's we don't appreciate our officers as much as we should, and I think maybe next year we need to look at a little bit more than punch and cookies, maybe dinner or something else. It's hard work what you do. Every day you go out, you're the grunts of the organization. Everything we do should support patrol and what you do. That's how I feel, and it's the truth. Everything I do will be about what makes your life better, makes your family's lives better, technology, equipment, all of those things you guys need. That'll be exactly what I'm trying to move forward and doing, because it is all about the job you do, and it's also connecting the community. We can have a very safe community, and we can have people that support the police. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. They're the same thing. We all want the same thing. And I think when we're all moving in that direction, we'll get things done. But I thank you all for being here, and especially the families who are supporting these officers. Believe me, as someone who's moved across the country with her husband and her 3 dogs, family is everything. And the support that you guys give these officers every day when they come home, it means a great deal, and they can't do what they do without you. So thank you, family, for all the support. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. I think dinner sounds like a great idea, but we're going to stay far away from an open bar. All right, next slide, please. Let's go ahead and get into it, and we'll go ahead and bring up the first winners here. We'll go with the next slide for Meritorious Awards. Let's go one more slide. All right, Meritorious Unit of the Year 2023 non-patrol goes to the Violent Crimes Task Force. I'd like to call to the stage Lieutenant Ray Tynes to come up and say a few words about the Violent Crime Task Force.
It can be difficult to describe a unit that's truly great with few words, but at a glance, the Violent Crime Task Force consists of 8 officers, 2 detectives, and 1 sergeant. And they're dedicated to providing tactical support and assisting violent crime investigative units through proactive policing methods. They work closely with investigative detectives to perform crucial tasks that detectives may not be able to handle, such as covert surveillance, tactical arrests, the placements of tracking devices, surround and call-out operations, and securing locations. This team also provides extensive investigative research on each target that they adopt. Primarily supporting the robbery unit and the aggravated assault unit, they also lend assistance to homicide, sex crimes, and the child abuse units. Their extensive capabilities and high level of respect within the department mark them as truly elite. This team demonstrates exceptional dedication to their work and collaboration, exemplified by the strong leadership of their sergeant, Brad Ray. A few stats from last year. In 2023, the VCTF, they took on over 300 cases, executed more than 120 search warrants, seized well over 100 firearms off the street, and made over 160 felony arrests of the city's most dangerous offenders. It is truly an honor and a privilege to work with this amazing team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I'm going to call up the VCTF here. When your name is called, please come up to the stage to receive your award and certificate from Chief Davis. You may take a quick photo, and if you can please line up. So I want you to come up on this side of the stage. You'll receive your award, take your photo, and exit from this side of the stage, but remain over here. We're going to take a unit photo at the end. And the audience, once we take that unit photo, we'll hold for applause and then applause for them. So the first is Detective Adam Curvin, Detective Jeff Sumner, Detective Matthew Holloway, Officer Will Johns, Officer Andy Yu, Officer Nicholas Brody Warren, Officer Jason Murray, Officer Valerie Tavares, Officer Tim Kobaugh, Officer Mike Coliani, Officer Craig Matt Pruitt, and Sergeant Will Brad Ray. All right, come on up for the unit photo. Yep, yep. Violent Crime Task Force. All right, the next award is Meritorious Unit of the Year for investigations, and the winning unit was sex crimes. I'm going to go ahead and invite Sergeant Jennifer Durham up to the podium to say a few words.
Good evening. I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight, not just the members of the Sex Crimes Unit, but the other units receiving awards, the civilians helping out, executive staff, and all the loved ones who have been there to support everyone. It's truly an honor to be here today to celebrate the accomplishments of the Sex Crimes Unit. I worked as a detective with almost all of the recipients who are here for this award, and I have also been a sergeant in the unit with these who are here before, or I was a detective before, and then I became a sergeant as well. I have learned so much, not only lessons in investigations, which are great when you can get a confession, or the emotional toll victim interviews take on you, or the early morning call-outs while you're looking for the boogeyman, but what it truly means to have a group who thrives on teamwork. People who immediately want to assist when those messages come through on the group thread. This unit has had some of the best team players I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And this teamwork is what has made the unit stronger. and also able to push past the assumptions given after multiple articles were written and lawsuits filed against our unit and our department. Lawsuits for some cases in which some of us weren't even officers when the cases occurred. But the sex crimes unit has taken it in stride and gone with the flow to make changes requested of them, and I am so proud of the hard work the unit has done and continues to do. Know this award tonight is a testament to your hard work and dedication to the victims, the unit, and the department, and does not go unnoticed. Thank you for all you have done and continue to do, and congratulations.
Thank you, Jennifer. And just to add to that, this unit was under so much scrutiny, and they thrived in that environment, and they showed what it was to be incredible investigators and made the department extremely proud. So again, when I call your name, come up stage left, we'll take our photo, exit on this side, and then we'll take a unit photo. Chief of Staff, Jeff Greenwald. Commander Chris Vallejo, Lieutenant Christopher Lalou, Sergeant Robert Barger, Sergeant Jennifer Durham, Sergeant James Turner, Detective Benjamin Albers, Detective Roberto Arambula, Detective Brian Bassano, Detective William Chung, Detective Austin Cole, Detective William Costello, Detective Nicholas Draper, Detective Catherine Hutchins, Detective Anna Jackson, Detective Eric Krenzel, Detective Christopher Kroger, Detective Andrea Meitel, Detective Marcus Ramon, Detective Rocky Reeves, Detective Cameron Staff, Detective Eric Sternad, Detective Lana Toporek, Detective Lauren Villarreal, Detective Grace Wolfsbane, Detective Christopher Yarger, Senior Police Officer Alfredo Del Valle, and Corporal Thomas Hardees. Can't forget the civilian staff, Crime Analyst Christy Savivat, Crime Analyst Michelle Richter, Crime Intelligence Analyst Supervisor Stacy Millender, Sex Crimes Unit Victim Service Supervisor Silvana Giono, Administrative Assistant Tracy Reed, Victim Service Counselor Chrisma Garcia, Victim Service Supervisor Catherine Herbers, Victim Service Counselor Terry O'Brien, Victim Service Counselor Andrea Morris, Victim Service Counselor Adriana Duarte, Victim Service Counselor Victoria Ortiz, and Victim Service Counselor Sasha Arevalo. All right, into the Unit of the Year awards. The first one will be our Civilian Support Unit of the Year, and that will be APD Communications. I'm going to invite Commander Michael Chancellor to come to the stage and say a few words.
Good evening. First, I'll start by apologizing to our administrative staff and to Chief Fitzgerald. It's a little difficult when you nominate about 200 people for an award, and someone's going to need to get this man some water to make it through the names. I think it's very important that we recognize the difference between individual and unit awards. Whenever we give out an individual award, you know, the sum of what that person did is just that, the sum of what they did. But when we do unit awards, the sum of what each individual does comes out to be more than the sum of the parts. And that's very important to acknowledge that and what these units are able to do. Communications, I got the privilege to be over for about 6 months. And I was astonished by the amount of work that they do. I think officers take them for granted. A lot of times that we do that. They took over 1.1 million calls in 2023. That's astonishing considering that we only respond to about 30% of those calls that they're taking. Also, they did over 23,000 training hours, and that's an incredible amount of training. As the training commander now, I can tell you just the logistics to get through 23,000 training hours is incredible. They also, while they were doing all of that work, they were able to increase their call answer rate from 83% at 15 seconds or less to 91% over the course of that year. So while they were doing more and more and more, they were able to increase their call rate or lower the time they were answering those calls. And so to the communications personnel, thank you very much for what you do. We very much appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. He was not joking. I've got about 5 pages of names to read, so you guys will be dreaming in my voice later tonight. So just like the rest, if you're receiving an award, come up over here, stage left, get your picture, exit over here, stage right, and then we'll take a group photo. Again, I apologize. I'll get through this as fast as I can. So first is Police Dispatcher 3, Mark Smith. Police Dispatcher 3, Cynthia Gentry. Assistant Manager, Emergency Communications, Tiffany Karowski. 911 call taker, April Arzola. Police Dispatcher, Dorcas Duke. Supervisor, Emergency Communications, Cheryl Gibson. Background Investigator, Melissa Martinez. Supervisor, Emergency Communications, Tina Pacina. 911 call taker, Doreen Zajac. Police Dispatcher, June Browning. Police Dispatcher, Mary Castillo. 911 call taker, Araceli Garcia. 911 call taker, Yadira Langul. Police Dispatcher, Michael Luzier. Coordinator Scheduler, Margaret Galindo. 911 call taker, Valerie Padir. Police Dispatcher, Mirza Morales. Police Dispatcher, Ashley Ledesma. 911 call taker, Adrian Alonzo. IT Support, Harold Chivanez. Police Dispatcher, Melissa Saucedo. Call taker, Ashley Blankenship. Police Dispatcher, Joan Abink. Call taker, Judy Gwynn. Police Dispatcher, Sarah Stoudemeyer. Call taker, Joshua Guerrero. Lizanna Lewis, Police Dispatcher. Call taker, Lorraine Chavaria. Call taker, Jonathan Ridge. Supervisor, Emergency Communications, Nicole Villarreal. Lieutenant Maria Calagna. 911 call taker, Alonzo Luna. 911 call taker, Robin Daigle. Supervisor, Emergency Communications, Gary Elmore. 911 call taker, Lewitt Hill. IT Supervisor, Nelson Hudson. Police Dispatcher, Benjamin Hansen. Police Dispatcher, Joshua Christenberry. Supervisor of Emergency Communication, Ashley Oltman. Supervisor Trainee, Connie Schoenfeld. Training Supervisor. Police Dispatcher, Abby Winters. IT Support Analyst, Justin Morris. Police Dispatcher, Candace Pearson. Supervisor, Emergency Communication, Casey Callahan. Assistant Manager, Michael Payne. Supervisor, Emergency Communication, Roxana Zamora. 911 call taker, Joshua Stringer. Police Dispatcher, Jennifer Rowe. Technician, Taylor Kanzler. Supervisor Emergency Communication Erica Roberts, 911 call taker Stephen Jones, 911 call taker Jennifer Martinez, Police Dispatcher Trevor Hunt, IT Support Analyst Russell Hall, Police Dispatcher Kimberly Blackburn, Police Dispatcher Shaniqua De La Vera, Police Dispatcher John Heiler, Police Dispatcher Jose Salinas, Police Dispatcher Elijah Boring, Supervisor Emergency Communication Tatiana Rivera, Police Dispatcher Barney Elisero, Jr., Supervisor Emergency Communication Jenny Knight, 911 call taker Samantha Swarthout, Police Dispatcher Kiana Osby, Police Dispatcher Joel Hanna, Police Dispatcher Melissa Athy, call taker Cheryl Medina, call taker LaWanda Felder, Dispatcher Dawn Watkins, Dispatcher Jennifer O'Connor, Dispatcher Genevieve Thomas, Assistant Manager Christine Gonsalves, Training Specialist Elizabeth Capone, Dispatcher Julie Morlock, call taker Megan Guerin, Dispatcher Charles Stevenson, Sarah Caffey, Police Dispatcher, call taker Stephanie Furman, Dispatcher Tyler Powell, call taker Laura Kinsley, Admin Specialist Norma Villarreal, call taker Angelica Salinas, Dispatcher Nancy Hoyt, Admin Specialist Christy Urbanski, call taker Tanya Dixon, call taker Christy DeJute, call taker Jacob Talkington, call taker Daniel Sosa, HR Supervisor Kristen Bertling, Dispatcher Yvonne Jimenez Tovar. We're almost there. Dispatcher Melissa Saldana, Admin Support Mercedes Benavong, Dispatcher Megan Stephen, Dispatcher Monica Alvarado, Dispatcher Ruby Garcia, Dispatcher Cherie Miller, call taker Valerie Barrios, Dispatcher Travis Kinsey, Dispatcher Stacy Tucker, Dispatcher Christine Scanlon, Dispatcher Rashida Chivantes, Scheduling Coordinator Misty Galvan, call taker Ashley Newcomb, Dispatcher Brooke Mower, Recruiting Coordinator Terrion Moore, Dispatcher Lily Ellen Shivanik, Dispatcher Kristen Poole, call taker Stacy Fennell, Recruiting Coordinator Sophia Haros, HR Senior Latanya Burgess, call taker Isabel Fabian Perez, call taker Stephen McGee, Dispatcher Zachary Riemann, call taker Ariana Robles, call taker Riley Gernert, call taker Takia Goodwin, Police Dispatcher Jenna Lowe, call taker Sierra Ribsam, Dispatcher Aaron Hodges, Dispatcher Sonia Rodriguez. Last page. Dispatcher Tommy Garrison, Dispatcher Ashlyn Batista, Dispatcher Isabel Talley, Admin Support Stephanie Almagor, Dispatcher Alejandra Falcon Perez, Dispatcher Josephine Hernandez, Dispatcher Francesca Clayton, HR Specialist Sarah Scribner, call taker Nicole Torres, Police Dispatcher David DeLeon, call taker Natasha Johnson, Dispatcher Leslie Castillo, call taker Noreen Sims, HR Specialist Michael Valley, call taker Michaela Mark, call taker Rachel Williams, call taker David Benakis, call taker Sebastian Leal, call taker Crystal Dixon, Dispatcher Adolfo Moya Jr., call taker Jayla Barnes, call taker Shaquisha Bryant, call taker Jasmine Bias, call taker Cynthia Farrar, call taker Stacy Faruga, call taker Karina Cerna, Police Dispatcher Elizabeth Cortinas, and Police Dispatcher Deanna Davis.
Hey, you want me to finish those up for you? Drink your turn around.
Thank you all so much. I know that was a lot to read all of those names, but I think it's very important that we read all those and we recognize every single one of them. That unit has truly turned around. It's very impressive what the leadership, both sworn and civilian, has done over there. I couldn't be more proud of that unit. On to Patrol Unit of the Year. I will invite Sergeant Tom Hayes of the Charlie 800s to come on up and talk a little bit about the Charlie 800s.
I'm Lieutenant Follett, Charlie Knights. I didn't take credit for any of this. I just came into the unit this summer, but I'm real proud to be a part of this team. This achievement started with the ambitions and vision of Corporal David Freston. Thank him for documenting the shift stats and the achievements that led to this award. And next, Sergeant Tom Hayes. He came to the shift with it was in transition and with many new young officers. Perfect opportunity to develop those officers with an emphasis on going above and beyond and quality police work. There were challenges, but there were also motivation to be the best of the best. Thank you, Sergeant Hayes and Corporal Freston, for your leadership and dedication to reaching those goals. Now to the hardworking, dedicated officers of the Charlie 800s, I appreciate every member of this team for your efforts and your teamwork. There were long hours spent each night stretching into the late mornings on most days to reach this goal, to going above and beyond, to being the best of the best. I'd like to note that several Charlie 800s officers during this period have also earned life-saving awards and medals for meritorious service, saving many lives and some children's lives. You are heroes. Furthermore, you are distinguished for having a large number of arrests and making our city safer. I also thank you for your service to the East Austin community, not only in law enforcement efforts, but in your community outreaches and the personal relationships with its citizens, building trust between the department and the community. To conclude, thank you, Charlie 800s. You have exceeded the standards, and you are the best of the best. Congratulations. Tom, you want to say a few things?
Good evening. LT, actually, you pretty much took everything I was going to say away. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So I do want to acknowledge, I know he was already talking about Dave, but Dave really steered the ship for about half the year last year. I took a position under a detective unit, and I was a supervisor over there. So when I left, there was a vacancy in the Charlie 8s for a sergeant, and for 5 whole months, Dave steered the ship. He was the captain of everything. And the 12 months, his assistance no doubt contributed to the earning of this award, but those 5 months I think were critical. So I just kind of want to give Dave a round of applause for holding it together. You want, Dave, so they can see you? You want to stand up? You don't want to stand up? You're not going to stand up? There you are. Yeah, there you are. Okay. Yeah, you go. All right, good. All right. So when I came back a couple of months later, there was a department reorganization, and I had the opportunity to come back to the Charlie 800s, and everything was just as I left it. Dave wanted to do the Unit of the Year, and I think my initial facial expression he took as perplexion, but it wasn't. I just hadn't really thought of it. And a little bit of reflection, though, once you start listing out the accomplishments, once you start writing it down, pen to paper, it really builds the whole story. It goes beyond Swiger and Kit saving that child's life, and probably saving the life of the suspect too. They could have used deadly force, they chose not to. They saved Reynolds and Arevalo. They went out and saved that kidnapping victim. Vinny on his first day, and Reynolds went out and found an aggravated rape suspect that had just raped a tourist. Harding and Zarling went out, and we had a call where a victim was literally dying on the phone. And instead of panicking, we didn't know where she was, but instead of panicking, they slowed down thought it out, and they actually utilized several tools, but one of them was they had the 911 operator listen to their sirens, and they triangulated where this person was, and they were able to render first aid to her that way. But these are, I can go on and on. I can go on about Mason and Mirror and everybody else and all their accomplishments they made. Kit getting the MAD award for the most DWI arrests in the city. But in the end of the day, they did it for the citizens of the city. They didn't do it for themselves. They didn't do it for me. They didn't do it for Dave. They did it for all the people out in the city that deserve and demand that type of service. So I just want to say I'm very proud of each and every one of you, and I'm also very humbled to be able to call you my shift mates. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Follett, Sergeant Hayes. So when I call your name, again, come up on the left, stage left, get your award, take your picture, assemble over here for a unit photo. So the Charlie 800s, Sergeant Thomas Hayes, Corporal David Freston, Officer Kamoa Reynolds, Officer Tyler Mason, Officer Eric Harding, Officer Jason Muir, Officer Vincent Heil, Officer Austin Zarling, Officer Joseph Arevalo, Officer Gregory Swiger, Officer Kelby Radford, Officer Demond Kitt, Okay, Investigations Unit of the Year for 2023 was the Child Abuse Unit. I want to invite up Sergeant Valentin de los Santos from the Child Abuse Unit to come on up and say a few words.
Good evening, Chief, executive staff, and to all those in attendance. Appreciate you guys being here for your support. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to all the units that were nominated and selected as Unit of the Year. Bravo Zulu, and job well done. Also, thanks to the selection board members for selecting the Child Abuse Unit as the Investigative Unit of the Year. I don't know who you are, but I like you. It is my honor and pleasure to say a few words on behalf of the Child Abuse Unit. The Child Abuse Unit is comprised of 1 lieutenant, 3 sergeants, and 17 detectives, victim services, and our admin support staff. What I love about the CAU is that it is the absolute epitome of teamwork, not just internally, but with outside partners like TCSO, Child Abuse Unit, the Center for Child Protection, and all the services that they provide, and all the support that they give to the children, CPS, and the Dell's Children Medical Care Team. That's just to name a few. We could not do what we do without your support. The CAU is dedicated to pursuing justice for the most vulnerable members of our society. In order to do that, the CAU dedicates itself to interviewing and interrogating suspects. And in 2023, we conducted 151 suspect interviews for a total of 326 hours, resulting in 83 confessions. The CAU investigated over 2,000 cases and received over 7,000 CPS referrals alone. We have a saying in the unit, if not us, then who? That saying continues to motivate unit members to investigate offenses of a disturbing nature, and that nature sometimes turns away the most hardened officers. For many people, the unit is shrouded in mystery. Some keep their distance from us because they don't really know what we do, and they're fearful of the work or the subject matter that we deal with. Others keep their distance because they simply are not sure what we do. The Child Abuse Unit is not a unit that is seen kicking in doors, and we often don't make the news. It is a unit that is charged with helping to protect the future of our community and hold the ones that harm our children accountable. At times, it is a challenge to work in the Child Abuse Unit given the nature of the cases that we investigate, but what keeps the unit and us whole is each other. Not just the detectives, but once again, it's about the camaraderie between the supervisors, victim service counselors, the Center for Child Protection, CPS, administrative staff, and all of our medical care team at Dell Children, who collectively work for a common purpose of guarding our children and protecting the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant De Los Santos. Again, when I call your name, come up to the stage, we'll take our picture and then do a unit photo. So the members of the Child Abuse Unit are Lieutenant Carrie Chardois, Sergeant Michael Wilmore Crumrine, Sergeant Scott Donovan, Sergeant Valentin de los Santos, Detective Scott Gunter, Detective Russell Constable, Detective Yair Hernandez, Detective Christopher Babb, Detective Daryl Lambert, Detective Jeremy Bolin, Detective Brandon Poe, Detective Dusty Jester, Detective Susanna Sanchez, and Detective Chadwick Honaker, Detective Chastity Salazar, Detective Lee Marie Barajas, Detective Maria Casanova, Detective Danielle Russell, Detective Rosie Perez, Detective Michael Andy Whitener, Administrative Assistant Delia Salazar, Victim Service Counselor Gloria Salazar, Victim Service Counselor Krista Ellison, Victim Service Counselor Augustine Aragon, Saki Grant Coordinator Julie Monty, Administrative Specialist Vanessa Vasquez, Administrative Support Priscilla Perez, Administrative Assistant Debbie Lancaster. right, congratulations to child abuse. And on to our final award of the evening. Patrol Support Unit of the Year for 2023 was our SWAT unit. And I will call to the podium Assistant Chief James Mason to say a few words.
Well, I think we all can be grateful tonight that Chief Fitzgerald was picked for the MC this evening, because if I get to mention all those names and read them off, most of you don't speak James, and I would completely butcher them all. And well, you guys would find it humorous, but that's the way the evening would go. So, if you think about a group of individual officers that are all Type A personalities, you think about APD SWAT. They are just an incredible group of officers that train hard every single day. They're dedicated to the citizens of Austin to be able to, at a moment's notice, and I really do mean at a moment's notice, because I can remember when the pager would go off, just barely rolling over, and I swear to you, they sleep in their camouflage pants. Those are their pajamas, because at a moment's notice, I'm rolling over trying to turn the pager off, and they're like, TAC 2176. So they're already en route. So I don't know how they do it, but that's what they do because they love their job. But it doesn't come without sacrifice. And unfortunately, in November of 2023, we lost Officer Pastor tragically. But I was able to watch this team as we all went to D.C. to honor him, and as his name went on the wall, to make sure we didn't forget about him. And I watched them be able to grieve and be able to build a stronger bond together and be able to become a tighter unit, to make sure that they were very critical of each other behind closed doors, to make sure that that never would ever happen again. So I really do feel that Pastor is with us here tonight, watching over us, and he's proud to be able to say that APD SWAT is a unit of the year. So thank you to SWAT. Appreciate you guys. You guys are unmatched, and you guys are ready at a moment's notice to come in and take care of business. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you, James. I think we've got it down now, so I'll call the names, come up to this side of the stage, take your picture, and we'll do the group photo. So Sergeant Kevin De La Rue. Sergeant Rafael Rosales. Sergeant Jeff Bauzon. Officer Chance Henderson. Officer Jared Caruth. Officer Casey Kazan. Officer Jeff Kingsley. Officer Matt Dennis. Officer Chantry Coker. Officer Jason Ulo. Officer John Connor. Officer Will Jackman. Officer Mike Ridge. Officer John Weston. Officer Tandy Perkins. Officer Ryan Nichols. Officer Robert Bobby Keith. Officer Andres Andy Salgado. Officer Dan Hanna. Officer Kevin Olajar. Officer Mike Castillo. Officer Nick Brunette. Officer Marcus Gonzalez. Lieutenant Brian Moeller. And Commander Sam Shirley. All right, how about another round of applause for all of our award winners this evening? And I will welcome Chief Davis back to the podium for the closing remarks for this evening.
All right, wow, what an event. So as Sergeant de los Santos, is that correct? Yes. As he said, he said it beautifully. That was a incredibly moving speeches by everyone. You could feel the passion and just those real feelings about what they do in the line of work. But it truly is, from SWAT to communications to child abuse, sex assault, all of those things. You guys are the very best of us. So congratulations again. And again, thanks family for coming. It's just fantastic work, so congratulations.
All right, and our final thanks, we talk about recognizing our officers and the incredible work that the men and women of the Austin Police Department do each day. But without the folks up on the screen here, and I mean, I've read enough names, so I might as well read these ones. Chaplain Ken Farmer, the APD Pipe and Drum Corps, Jeanette De La Rosa, Connie Falcon, Bob Aranda, Connie Schoenfeld, Leo Monroe, Stephanie Gonzalez, Melissa Frazier, Mirtha Longoria Castaneda, Alejandro Alex Rivas, Shirley Sanders, Janet Thomas, Angela Armstrong, Lisa Cortinas, Ana Sabana, Rudy Maya, Sierra Flores, Brad Dusselhorse and team, and Burton Fitzsimmons, who was able to get this entire event live streamed on ATXN. Without them, this event doesn't happen, so a big round of applause for them. All right, that concludes this evening's ceremony. Just a reminder that there is punch and cookies out in the lobby, so please stick around, enjoy those, and give lots to your kids.